I started a joke which started the whole world crying.
That's beautiful.
But I didn't see that the joke was on me. Oh no. I started to cry, which started the whole world laughing. Oh, if I'd only seen that the joke was on me. I looked at the skies,
Over your shoulder.
hands over my eyes, and I fell out of bed, hurting my head.
You know it. Not to make other people hideously jealous.
I feel you touch me in the pouring rain. In the moment that you wander.
What do you do?
I'm the singer guitarist, but today only guitar.
Oh, but not Lady Rose then?
No. Pick up later.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Now what do you do? Outside?
Sorry? Oh, I think I'm going to go back. Yeah. I think I'm going to head back to the stage. Oh yeah, no, you guys are really good. See you later. You guys good?
We belong to you and me. Believe in you. You know the door to my very soul. You're the light in my deepest, darkest doubt.
Hey, Joe boy.
And you may not think I care for you when you know down inside that I really do. But it's me you need to show. How deep is your love?
He couldn't make it. The fabulous. He's on Smooth Radio in the afternoons. What time is it? Drive time, the best time. I do know. The wonderful David Jensen. Please give him a big round of applause.
What kind words. Thank you, Vicky. How sweet. We're going to be inviting Dwena up here shortly, but it was my pleasure to have known Robin for many, many years, since the late 60s when I first came over from Canada. He was always a great engaging interviewee because he had so many interests. Music was his first love, and of course it's why we all know him best, but he had loads of interests. He loved history, we probably know, current affairs, that kind of thing, and he was always good to talk to and very self-effacing. That was the other thing I took away from talking with him. He was a star, but he didn't act like a star, did he?
No, that's exactly right. He was approachable. He spent time with people. Just a lovely, lovely person. Great loss.
And a good laugh as well. He loved goons type humor, didn't he? All right, we'll be inviting Dwena up on stage. In the meantime, enjoy the tea, the sandwiches and cakes and things like that, and we'll get the entertainment going very shortly. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, a wonderful honour for Robin to have a plaque put on the house, and many songs were written here as well. You Win Again was one of them, and quite a few other ones. I'd just like to say that, I'd like to thank all the fans and all the friends and all the people who who've sent cards, and we haven't got them all up yet, but I've got quite a few of them up in the chapel. And if anyone wants to go and have a look in the refectory or the chapel afterwards, you know, you have to be careful of the floors, because I don't know how many can actually stand in there at the same time.
There's a visitor's book as well if you'd like to visit.
There's a visitor's book up there if you'd like to write something to Robin or say something, you know, what he meant to you. So it's in the refectory. RJ, over to you. Okay.
I've been asked to speak a while about my father. Unfortunately, my siblings are not here, Melissa and Spencer, but I'm sure...
Melissa wasn't feeling well, so she wasn't able to come today, and Spencer's in Texas and he's touring, so he hasn't been able to. But anyway.
Well, I guess all I can say is that I will be eternally grateful for the memories and the camaraderie, for the smile in his eyes and the beautiful tones that touch the hearts of millions. That was my father and my friend. I welcome you all today and thank you all for your support this afternoon. My father, I can remember, was overjoyed at the unveiling of his green plaque at Robert Stigwood's old offices. But alas, as I said earlier at the unveiling, he would of course like to have stayed the unveiling of this, his blue plaque, for as long as possible. But its location could not be more fitting. This house is where many a haunting melody was penned, including, of course, his last work with myself, the Titanic Requiem. And of all the homes he had throughout his life, I can honestly say this was his true, beloved home, at which he drew so much inspiration and comfort. Franz Schubert was very dear to myself and my father's heart. Ave Maria was probably his favorite classical piece. You'll now hear Isabel sing Christmas Day, the song that I alluded to before, a young girl singing to her father who's gone down with the Titanic.
What a beautiful, beautiful voice. Isabel. Now, I have some disappointing news from someone who really wanted to be here today in a very big way. He's very special. He's a great writer and a broadcaster. Sadly can't be with us. That's Paul Gambaccini, who wanted to say a few words about Robin Gibb. He was taken ill last night, so he is unable to be with us today. But he is definitely thinking of us, and hopefully we'll be thinking of him from time to time, because I know he would have loved to have been here. But I do have someone that Robin was both a friend and a big fan of as well. Someone who Robin presented a special Heritage Foundation special award to as the last award he presented in his life a few months ago. He's a well-known broadcaster. We've seen him on TV lots and lots of times as the main host of the Old Grey Whistle Test. He was a big fan of the Bee Gees, still is. Mr. Bob Harris, OBE.
Thank you very much. Dwina, RJ, thank you so much for inviting us to your beautiful home for this elegant and poignant and lovely afternoon. And in the absence of Paul Gambaccini, I've just been asked to step forward and just add a few personal thoughts. Top 5 of the American charts with 2 of their own singles, a single by Andy Gibb and Samantha Sang's Emotion, all in the top 5 of the charts at that point. And I'm sure you remember the anticipation building up to the eventual release of the follow-up album to Saturday Night Fever, Spirits Having Flown. And I was down in Nassau doing some filming there with the Average White Band in, it must have been 78, I think. And I got a note to say that I was invited to stop off at Criteria Sound Studios in Miami on my way back to England to conduct an interview with the three of them, because they wanted me to hear the new album and wanted news about it to be broadcast on the Old Grey Whistle Test. So I stopped off at Criteria Sound. Mike was alluding earlier to the fact that Robin wasn't always that punctual, but on this occasion I got to Criteria Sound and walked into reception there at about 10 to 2. We'd arranged to meet at 2 o'clock, and I thought inevitably I'd probably, you know, as you always do, sort of wait for quite a while. They were waiting for me in reception with a tray of English tea, brown sugar cubes, you know, some scones, jam. It was a sort of English occasion. It was very lovely. And we went through into the studio to listen to the playback of the album as it was to that point. It wasn't quite finished mixing yet, but unfortunately there were one or two technical problems. They were linking up two 64-track desks to make 128 tracks, and the desks kept going out of phase with each other. So because they wanted me to hear the album so much, and here we have one of the great experiences of anyone's lifetime, they took me off into a little listening booth. So we had the backing track up on speakers, but because they couldn't play me the tracks with the vocals on, they stood behind me and sang me through this new album at Criteria Sound at that moment. It was just an incredible, even when I think about it now, I get shivers up and down my spine, with the three of them leaning over from the back, singing me through that entire album. It still remains, probably as much for that reason as anything else, you know, my favourite Bee Gees album ever. But then a little later, I was there at ITV for the Bee Gees' This Is Your Life. And a little while after that, I myself became the recipient of the Red Book, and it was Robin who was the sort of foil. Radio 2 had said, right, we've set up an interview, Robin's coming in, we'd like you to do a career interview with him for the Radio 2 files, you know, and there will be a couple of cameras around, but then I sort of expected that. We walked into the studio together, and he was incredibly and wonderfully distracting as to, you know, the huge number of people that had now gathered in the control room to watch this moment. And when Michael Aspel came in with the Red Book, to start with, as he walked towards us, you know, I naturally assumed that it would be for Robin. And it only occurred to me, the penny began to drop, and I thought to myself, no, hang on a second, I was at the Bee Gees, This Is Your Life, not long ago. This must be for me. And Robin came with us to the studio. He obviously came out with me at the start of the program. And again, you know, his warmth and spirit was just fantastic. And last year or the year before, I think we do my wife and I organised with Cancer Research UK an annual event at Abbey Road Studios called Sound and Vision. It's a big fundraiser for Cancer Research UK. And I was on stage, I knew nothing of this, and this is how Robin has managed to take me by surprise in such a great way throughout. I was in the middle of an announcement, and suddenly Robin comes up on stage with the beautiful dish, the bowl with the carving on it as my Heritage Award. He was really emotional giving me this award, and I was very emotional receiving it, because once again he was there with such wonderful spirit and great generosity. And these are my memories of Robin through the years. Every single one of them has just been absolutely beautiful. It's a true honour and privilege to be here this afternoon. He was wonderful. He was absolutely wonderful. Thank you very much.
Now, I would rather be here in my normal capacity singing backing vocals, but unfortunately, I'm going to have to sing lead. When you're ready, Mr. Banks. There's a light, a certain kind of light that never shone on me. I wish my life to be lived with you, live with you. There's a way. Everybody sing to do each and every little thing, yeah. But what does it bring if I ain't got you? Ain't got you. I want to hear you all now. You don't know, baby. Beautiful. To love somebody, to love somebody.
Thank you so much. First thing my son says, Dad, can I come? No. Look, I'm not showing off, son. Not yet. I will in a minute. Okay, shh. Okay, we're at the wrong place, wrong time. Maybe I shouldn't have started that one off. Anyway, look, it's such an honour to be here today. Before I read out some of the messages, Dweena, you know, you're an incredible, incredible woman. I'm going to give you guys a little story about Dweena before I tell you about my experience with the wonderful Robin and his son here. Now, Dweena, with all the things that she's been going through lately, and of course before the terrible news, she was sending my brother, who is suffering from cancer at the moment, and she was sending him books. She was trying to find out what she could do to help him while her own husband was battling so much. She was out there reaching a hand out to little old me and my family, and that said so much about you as a person. And I think it's really important that people know how wonderful you are as well, you know? Now, I immigrated to Australia with my family when I was 6 years old, born here in England. And when I went to Australia, one of the places that was just around the corner from our house was a place called the Bavarian Steakhouse. And this place was great. Why? Not because they just did great steaks, but the reason was because we found out through the family that this was the first ever place that the Bee Gees performed in Australia, was at the Bavarian Steakhouse. This is what I was told. So for years, when I used to go past, I used to go, oh, the Bee Gees have been there. I used to go and sit there and have something to eat, and it was all the Bee Gees. And I couldn't wait till one day I met the Bee Gees and told them about the Bavarian Steakhouse. So here's the strange thing. I think it was 1997, the World Music Awards. I think that's the first time I ever got to meet the Bee Gees, and I was really excited to go and meet them. And I went up, and before I could say anything, Robin said, "You're from the Gold Coast, kid. Do you remember the Bavarian Steakhouse?" I mean, it completely blew me away. And that's how our conversation started. This man, I was then thinking, how do I ask this man for an autograph? I don't know. I can't really do it. I was blown away again because he said, listen, you wouldn't sign this for my son, will you? Yeah, no worries. I'll check my schedule. Of course, this was the man I wanted to ask for. After that, of course, I asked for his autograph. And this is how this man came into my life. Years later, I met him again at the World Music Awards. And this time it was with a good friend of mine, Mike Reid. And Robin said, I've got just the song for you. I mean, this guy blew me away every time. One of the biggest songwriters in the world. And he's standing there talking to me, talking about a song. So from there, we started meeting up. We started talking about music. And I got to come to your house many times, and we used to sit in that room. And the one thing I saw about Robin was he was tireless, he was selfless, he always used to want to do more. He couldn't, even if he wasn't feeling well, he'd disappear. And then where I'd say to Dweena, listen, Dweena, I should go, she'd be like, no, Robin wants you to stay. And we'd wait, and Robin would come down and he'd carry on working. That was the kind of man that he was. If he didn't inspire me enough how he did, this was really inspiring me. So I just want to say, in the short time that I got to meet and spend time with Robin, his son, his wonderful wife, this family were very, very special. And in this industry, to meet people that are so humble with all the success that they have, make us little amateurs look up and think, wow, we need to learn from these people. And I've learned a lot from this man. So all my respect to you and Robin and your family. Now, I'm going to give you a few little notes on just the success that Robin had. So here we start. He had the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and Songwriters Hall of Fame Lifetime Achievement Award, Recording Academy Legend Award, 7-time Grammy Award winner, BMI Icon Award, Brits Lifetime Achievement Award, well in excess of 200 million records sold. I mean, that is absolutely incredible. 15 American #1 records, 31 weeks at #1 in the US with Saturday Night Fever. Until Thriller, Saturday Night Fever was the all-time bestseller. It still is the best-selling soundtrack of all time. And don't forget, it's not just the Bee Gees song that you remember of the songs that they wrote and they performed. They wrote for so many other artists, and some of your favourite songs from some of the other artists were written by the Bee Gees. These guys are unbelievable. One week in March 1978, the whole US top 5 was songs written by the Bee Gees, and that was just spoken about before. Over 6,000 cover versions. I mean, that's unbelievable. An unprecedented achievement of writing and performing #1 singles in 5 consecutive decades, starting with Massachusetts in 1967, and the last one to date, Islands in the Stream, recorded with Tom Jones for Comic Relief in 2009. So here are a few messages and tributes from some people who can't be with us, and thank you for asking me to do this. Bill Wyman, who is on tour with the Rhythm Kings in Europe, said that when Georgie Fame performed How Deep Is Your Love last night as a tribute to Robin, we had a standing ovation for our second song in. We are expecting something similar in Hamburg tonight. Bill continued, Robin was the best voice of the Bee Gees, and it was a pleasure to perform with him on a number of occasions in recent years. Robin will be missed. My love to Dweena, Bill and Susan Wyman. The legendary DJ Johnny Walker is not with us this afternoon as he's live on BBC Radio 2. He sends his love to Dweena and will mark the occasion on the show today. George Michael, currently on tour, described Robin as such a sweet man when they met, that he had been blind to music prior to Saturday Night Fever. Beverly Knight is getting married, which is not a bad excuse for not attending today. She recorded Too Much Heaven, which is my personal favourite of the Bee Gees, with Robin on a recent album and sang Guilty with him on stage in 2009. She has sent a message to Dweena saying how much she loved and revered Robin and how he inspired so many. She continues, for me, he was a humble genius and I feel honoured to have known him. Mick Hucknall, currently touring, sent his best wishes and expressed his respect for the music Robin and his brothers have created. Mitch Winehouse, currently in New York, organising a tribute for his daughter, called to send his regards and respect to Dweena and her family. Rick Wakeman called to say that he and his wife Rachel genuinely regret that due to filming commitments he cannot attend. He passes his best wishes to Dweena and will be thinking of Robin today. A truly wonderful man. And of course we could continue on, but these are the words of a man who in February 2011 at the Berlin Film Festival received a Lifetime Achievement Award presented by Robin. And on that evening, he talked about how his life changed forever after the first screening of the opening credits of Saturday Night Fever. Of course, I'm talking about John Travolta. And the words that he said, which pretty much sums it all, he said, put them on the microphone and it's pure magic. So thanks to everybody. Thank you for letting me read these out, and all my respects to your family.
Thank you, Peter Andre. And here are a few people who have been able to join us today. I'd like to mention Mandy Tarrant from Outward Bound, where Robin was an ambassador. Also Vanessa Brady, president of the Society of British Interior Design, where Robin was also an ambassador. And Pat Leatham from Against Breast Cancer, where Robin was, and Dweena still is, very active as a patron. Robin is also, as I was saying before, some of the things he liked to talk about and discuss were current affairs. And he was frequently a guest at Sky News studios in Isleworth, West London, and the host Stephen Dixon from Sky News is with us today as well. A round of applause, I think, for some of those people.